It's almost impossible to recount the pure maliciousness and evil that King Crimson subjected me to. I don't dare to say that I can do it because it's impossible. It's too savage, surreal, and maniacal to consider. But some of the intellectual tenets do come through. For example, Tony Levin, who knew nothing about me and demanded to know everything, as siphoned through a filter of his own bias and criminal intention, mongered inanely that I needed forgiveness when I hadn't done anything wrong. What I was looking for was for someone to intervene on the basis of the information that I provided so that some assessment could come through. They did the opposite. They promoted the attackers and they impinged a persona, constructed a persona. They libeled me, and they said that the libels were actionable without any form of due process. They voided due process. They treated me like an object from which they could extrude what they had implanted. If this wasn't criminally insane enough, they masqueraded as loving me. They masqueraded as seekers of the truth about AIDS. They masqueraded as concern for protection of nonviolence in public safety while using poison on a nonviolent person who had done nothing wrong, while constructing a bizarre storyline that it was Buddhist Zen reflection on Hiroshima. Presumably, World War II was a situation where the Allies had agreed to use munitions to put a stop to fascist expansion and genocide. Presumably, Russia was one of the people who was relieved to see World War II come to an end. Things fell afoul. New alliances were put in place. A weird parochial enterprise was embarked on without any attempt to persuade, without any public education. They came and did poacher. And their lead ISIS mongers, their warriors, claimed to be standing up for Martin Luther King and Roberto Clemente while using his name for rape, for poison. I mean, these demented weirdos from the New York Criminolopolis get a full head of steam. They're like the nuns in Ken Russell's orgy frenzy, where the syphilitic French king comes out with a box that he says has the ashes of Christ. And then when he turns it upside down, it proves to be empty. They pause in their frenzy for a minute and then go back to the thrilling and thrashing. The NAACP couldn't care less that I gave them intelligence that showed a war game about the age attack. They say, when COVID-19 happens, it's like they pour out the buckets of ash, they freeze for a second, then they go back to thrashing. And we have monkeypox now. And they're not doing anything to second guess the safety procedures, the safety measures, the public's right to know. They're not doing anything. They're proceeding ahead with Spike Lee's warped idea about a picture on the wall at Sal's. And they refuse to allow for any self-review. And what I see is particularly sad, because I like Russia, is that the checks and balances that they put on themselves trace back to we don't have to listen to anybody because Russia backs us up, which is unproved. It's an unproved sentiment of Gerald Horne's that, if I'm citing correctly his views about, he goes into the song and dance about the Communist Party liberating the Scottsboro boys. And this is like a sacred sacrament or something, but each case is different. And they had this dogma that one size fits all. One size doesn't fit all. There's a difference between people who are risk themselves and need to be protected from others and themselves if necessary, and people who are simply at risk. And America can't respond to the at risk. They don't dare because Cornell West says we will spit on you if you dare to respond to the at risk, to protect the at risk. You can't have social distancing and his concept of biological linkage. I've had to self quarantine in a bizarre lockdown as a deaf person to protect myself from what Tamo De Jong says is my archetype. And Tamo De Jong is no honorary the African warrior in anybody's book but Dr. Proctor's. He's a European eccentric. And King Crimson just, I have a memory of Jimi Hendrix, come worship me. That's the way that they think. I don't give two I don't want. Forgiveness for those people is not even a consideration, and because they pushed me past the point of no return, I'm not a sacred Beatlemaniac. Fine, marginalize me. None of it is my precinct. I have to breathe and walk in the same forever chemicals of acid rain because of this stupidity as everybody else. I tried to bring ecology to the forefront of King Crimson and Carnegie Mellon and Pitt back in the days when Fern Hollow Bridge was standing. And they started saying I was a reckless driver at Kelly School and doing the Ashia Shamish and doing this here and that there. You know, I don't have anything to say. You know, I don't have anything to say about any of it. I have nothing to say. It's not my precinct. Don't darken my doors. I don't want your postcard. I don't want anything to do with you. If you insist on talking to me, please talk to me in a civilized manner. I'm a civilized human being. You don't have to monitor my home computer. It's not your licky chops girlfriend, okay, who's after a, a pat on the fanny from Ringo Starr after seducing me, or whatever else you fools were up to. Just, just do like this here, and I'll go to the disabled community and read my books. I sure appreciate the chance to learn about Russia. Russia's a nice place. It's a dandy place. I enjoy them dancing on Moscow. You're in no danger. Ukraine isn't going to hurt you. We can stop the fighting now. That's right. Stop the fighting and get back to me, and that'll be nice. Yeah. Okay.